At some point, I'll check my Bloomberg and see if either Harris or Trump conceded. And if not, then you strap yourself in for weeks or months of a contentious battle of, who won, right? I mean, similar to what happened in 2000 with Bush and Gore, when
Yeah.
people were debating what hanging chads and all sorts of other bullshit because even, paper ballots and I don't know, it's just nonsense, right?
Like,
And
do you think any of this really matters? Let's talk about for investors or for crypto. Do you think it matters who wins?
no, I don't think it matters at all. I think the regulatory apparatus will be what it is. I honestly think it's kind of irrelevant. The things that the reason why Bitcoin is 1.2, $1.3 trillion asset class is not because of regulations, either pro or against. The reason why the Ethereum decentralized computer is the second largest cryptocurrency has nothing to do with regulations. The reason why there's all these other meme coins and all these things happening has nothing to do about, you know, this or that politician and what their stance on crypto is. It's a fundamental, like better technology. Oh, it's going to be from like 70,000 to $1 million. That's just not how it works. And so on a micro legislative level. And so I think people just don't understand, well, the Americans didn't, pay attention to civics class, and then everyone else who's not American, understandable why you wouldn't understand this.
Is there anything about the election that you're paying attention to? Because there's more than just the president, right? We have the presidential election, we have the Senate, we have the House. Is there anything about the election that is signal to you?
I just want to see the outcome, right? What's the makeup? And then that determines like who gets the money. So which particular part of the American economy or electorate gets the free money, how quickly that happens, right? And so if it's one party controls all three branches of government, then the money gets printed faster. But if it's a divided situation, then you need a financial crisis or some sort of war that says, oh, okay, now we're all together in the printing of the money. And so we'll put aside our differences and we'll do the same thing we would have done if we were in charge. And so coming into, 1950, after the disastrous civil war between Chiang Kai-shek and Mao Zedong. And so the Communist Party said, we're going to urbanize. And so every 5-year plan, there's an urbanization target. Now Mao fucked things up pretty bad while he was in power until 1976. And then things started to liberalize under Deng Xiaoping, who was basically like, I'll do whatever it takes just to create prosperity in China, and if that goes against sort of Maoism or traditional Marxist-Lenin theory, whatever, let's just grow. And so let's get these people into the cities. And so again, all credit is determined by state preferences because the largest banks are owned by the state. The largest companies in any sector are all state owned. And so if the government says we want to have people in cities, then what do? We build stuff. And so if you're going to move, I don't know how many hundreds of people have moved from farms into this lowest in the world, meaning the prices are super high. And if you look at the price to median income, apartments in the major tier 1 Chinese cities are the most expensive in the world. And so obviously that creates a lot of social angst, right? The old own all the shit, and then the young are like, what the fuck? I can't get on the ladder.
I know this movie.
And I'm not going to have any kids. I'm not going to have a family. And so you get sort of birth rate decline, which, when I'm in a country that needs young workers to manufacture things, that's also bad. So she says, okay, well, we're misallocating credit. I need to stop it. Now, it's hard to stop it when literally every arm of the government has made money on this. All the major banks have loans against this. All the major industries from the buyers are like, oh, fuck, well, is this person actually going to complete this house? And because they didn't have any new sales and no bank credit, they couldn't complete the old apartments. So there's something like, I don't know, however many millions of units promised to be delivered. And the question is, will these developers get enough government financing to do it? So it's a different problem. It's not exactly just straight money. They need apartments. So obviously the Chinese government doesn't want to get in the business of building apartments, because if you build it like shit, then they complain to you, not the developer. Right. So they've been trying to pussyfoot around the situation of let's give some money here and there. Let's try to incentivize lending. But at the end of the day, it's the market short flywheel of the network effect.
Okay, so I mean, so if these markets are efficient, if you want crypto and you live in China, you can get crypto. So and the Chinese government, you said, knows that they can't fully stop kind of like P2P trading, at least not without you taking some super draconian type measures that they're not prepared to take. Okay, so that's basically why if you're money printing in China, if you're money printing, you're the Fed in the US, you're money printing in Europe, it all goes back to these store of value, non-sovereign, non-fiat store of value assets like cryptocurrencies, like Bitcoin, right? The same money printing, if it happens in the US or China, it's still flowing back to Bitcoin, because this is where people want to hold their values. Is this correct?
Yeah. On the margin, people have a demand for Bitcoin. Obviously, there's bigger demand for gold and maybe foreign assets, right? So there will be capital flight out of China as they create all this currency, and the very rich and connected are able to. In China, there is no such, like, the PBOC is just another arm of the state, right? And so they do what she tells them, and so I think that America will become American capitalism with Chinese characteristics. America needs industrial policy to build the stuff that they outsource to China. And so they're going to have to do the same thing that the Chinese did to build up their manufacturing situation. Financially repress the people at home, allocate credit to the industries that they believe are relevant for fighting a war, right? The chips, the factories. There's going to be some new shipbuilder bill to reshore shipbuilding in the United States, right? All these sorts of things. These are extremely expensive, especially when you have a population that all have liberal arts degrees and no one can, use a screwdriver. So it's just expensive,
Well,
but it's been done before and it'll be done again. It's a cycle.
All right. Speaking of liberal arts,
In 2016, it preserved usability over moneyness when
the Dow,
Yeah.
that one time.
Well,
Not going to let him off for
it
that.
takes one time. It takes one time. Once you do it once, you're fucked. Yeah, don't worry. It's not money. The community clearly spoke. We want usability. We believe the decentralized computer is better served if we sort of rewrite history and go forward. You cannot be money anymore. You're not money. You are.
Hang on, I want to debate that, because there's been other times post DAO when the Ethereum community did not make that same choice, especially with the parity hack, and parity tried to recover
how large is parity hack percentage based on the total value of the network at the time? Was it the same percentage?
No, it wasn't close to the percentage of the network as the DAO was. But the
It
DAO
was-
was like existential, and so that I kind of actually think that alludes to my point, like, because the DAO was.
That absolutely makes sense. But okay, then give me the Ethereum block space money or asset or token, right? That's going to allow me to sort of bifurcate these things and then have the usable thing and the non-usable thing, right? I don't have, I just have ETH. And so it's both.
It's interesting. There have been projects to really create kind of like a gas token on ETH or a block space token. That might be interesting in the future. But still, you are bullish ETH from a pure cash flow perspective. It sounds like if you're holding it in your portfolios, it's upside on that.
Is the most developers, and if we think about the most innovative new things in DeFi or infrastructure, they all start on ETH. Solana, there's copied on Solana, maybe it runs faster or whatever, but they start on ETH. And so I still think ETH is sort of the daddy chain. It sponsors all the ideas. It has some of the smartest people developing new things. Legal system is not intrinsic to their world. So
But
that's
they
just
can't have
one
much
thing.
agency on Bitcoin. They can't do much on Bitcoin.
Why couldn't they do much of it? They can, couldn't they spin up their own, data center, build, if you have self-replicating robots, they could build their own ASIC miners. Like, why not?
Oh, that's a future I'm not prepared to think about. I feel like that's
It
pretty
gets a little
far off.
physical, a little too physical.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, obviously it's a longer tail thing, but I think if I'm an AI, why would I use some fiat currency that lasts 100 years and dies every time a bunch of humans get together and decide to debase it because they want to get reelected? Right? That's the history of all fiat currencies over the last 10,000 years. So knowing that they've literally been trained on everything that we've ever done and written, and they know our history, why would you buy $1 or €1 or a yen? It will not exist in 100 years. Just selling me? Fuck no. Right? Because I understand, okay, well, there's a short-term dislocation. You sell what you can, not what you want. And if Bitcoin's extremely liquid, maybe it's a Saturday night and somebody threw some missiles around. The only thing that people could trade is Bitcoin. They dump that so that their risk is, the right way around on Monday morning when all the other markets reopen. Cool. I'm ready to rock and roll and handle that sort of volatility because I'm not going to get liquidated. But I know that over time, 5-10 years from now or whatever it is, Bitcoin will keep pace with the price of energy, and energy will go up because we're destroying it through war.
So that's how it feels like it should trade, right? It should trade similar to gold. It doesn't always, though. Like so when these events happen,
volatility, it's extremely volatile. There's a great chart of gold versus the German mark during the Weimar Republic, and it's like a fucking yo-yo. But obviously, the general is trying as a logarithm, an exponential increase in value, and then as the mark was devalued. But if you use leverage, you'd have gone bankrupt multiple times throughout that side. China versus the Philippines. There's, Venezuela versus was it Guyana with their oil fields. There's what's going on in the, former French colonies in Northern and Western Africa. And all these are just flashpoints between the United States and NATO, and then Russia, China, Iran, right? And so there are all these different flashpoints. And the theory goes is the reason why, nuclear powers like Russia, China, and the US fight proxy wars is because no one wants to engage directly with each other because they're afraid of thermonuclear retaliation in war, right? Let's hope that theory holds because, of course, it's very sad that all these people are dying in all these different places. But if we exterminate the entire human race because a bunch of old fuckers decide to throw missiles at each other, that'd be even worse.
Yeah, that would be very bad for the price of crypto.
We wouldn't be around. It wouldn't matter.
It wouldn't matter anymore.
Yeah, it's uninvestable. You're not here.